everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me once again for tea time. Today we have a little bit of misty morning and focus combination. As I always say, you know I love the bergamot and the little zing. So good, so good. I hope you guys are joining me today with your tea or maybe a cup of me, hanging out, relaxing, right? Talking tech, talking video, photo, whatever it is, all right? That's what we do on this channel, right? So today is going to be an Olympus day, and we're going to look at the direction that the new Olympus division is going. Basically, the new company that started out January 1st, 2021, called OM Digital Solutions. So the main question is, what will OM Digital Solutions do? Are they just basically going to have an Olympus Camera Division on a shoestring budget? What are they going to do? Well, there was a really good article / interview with the head, the CTO, which is the Chief Technology Officer, and a lot of questions were asked of him. So before I get into it, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded my ebook as of yet, please do so. Go over to JCristina.com/ebook. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. 10 tips at making tack sharp images. There's something there for professionals, pro-ams, as well as amateurs. And it is at an awesome price, guys. Awesome. $0. That's right. It's free, right? Go to JCristina.com/ebook. So if you are a Micro Four Thirds guy, or if you absolutely love Olympus and you want to know where they're going, this is going to be a really good video for you to sit through. Now, it's going to be a little bit lengthy because I'm going to go through this interview piece by piece. But remember, I'm not going to give you the word by word by word. All right. I'm going to kind of consolidate stuff where I can and give you the gist behind it for time's sake. All right. We don't want this video to go on forever. So if you didn't know, Olympus sold off their camera division to JIP. That camera division is now defunct, and OM Digital Solutions was birthed as of January 1st, 2021. So let's get into this interview a little bit. There's some really good questions, and I think that you're going to absolutely love, because it'll give a trajectory of where Olympus Camera is going or not going, all right? And when we're done with this, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? I'll give you mine. So starting out with the first question, they ask, how did you decide on the name of the newly launched OM Digital Solutions? The CTO said the OM system began with the famous OM1, originally called the M1, and that was launched in 1972. And if you look over here on this little side monitor that I use, that is what it looked like on assignment around the world, and that is the OM1. That camera was used a lot by reporters way back in the day. So it was a good camera, it was a solid camera, and a lot of people started using it when it came out in 1972. He continues by saying, we thought that the OM, in quote, the OM was the best way to convey the message that we would continue our business. We have no intention to make a brand change that will cause anxiety to our customers. Now, on a side note, the CTO indicated that he was concerned about how long they will be able to use the Olympus brand. That is the OM Digital Solutions. How long they'll be able to use the Olympus brand, they don't know, but it is his hopes that they can use that Olympus brand in perpetuity, forever. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Very interesting. The next question was, while the camera market has been shrinking, you have launched a new company. Why? I think that's a great question, right? Why not just get rid of it? Everything is shrinking anyways. Well, the CTO responded with, up until now, we have been making imaging systems under the umbrella of Olympus. We wanted to find the best way to make the system sustainable. We decided that it would be better to work independently from Olympus. This is because the camera market is shrinking. It is difficult to increase sales and grow the company in the current situation. And not only for us. Obviously, that is the case, guys. We have seen this everywhere. Doesn't matter what camera manufacturer, they're all down over the last 10 years. And they've been shrinking and shrinking ever since, right? He continues by saying, in order to be profitable, we need to cut costs. And to do this, we need to make structural changes. Olympus is now becoming more and more a MedTech company focusing on medical equipment. Now, I told you guys about this way back when I said that I believe that Olympus' last hurrah was that $3,000 Micro Four Thirds months and months and months back. I said, listen, they cannot sustain like this. No one's going to buy this $3,000 Micro Four Thirds camera. No one did. And I said that they were going to focus more on their medical stuff because medical is where it's at. Medical equals money. And that's just the way it is. And here is absolutely from the horse's mouth. I was right. Not right all the time, but this time I was right. He continues by saying, it is difficult to make bold structural reforms under the Olympus umbrella. And that is the case. When you have a company doing a whole bunch of different things, it's hard to make structural changes for a specific division at times. And that's what they were finding here. Now, the next question I think is interesting also. What exactly was the process of creating the new company? Now, I touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but here is exactly how it went down. He answers with, we considered a number of different options, including downsizing the division, spinning it off internally, and carving it out under the umbrella of a fund we have chosen. And obviously they did the latter. In the end, they reached an agreement with Japan Industrial Partners, that is JIP, J-I-P, in June of last year. The deal was worked out in September, and by January 1st, 2021, the new company, OM Digital Solutions, began operations. He continues by saying, JIP is very good at taking a business out of a company. Listen to that. Taking a business out of a company. To give you an example, they carved out Sony's PC business, Vaio, and made it independent. And that is absolutely what they did. JIP did a really good job at it. Some people think that Vaio is not so good now, not as good as it was when it was with Sony, and some people think it is. That's up to you to figure out. But they did carve out that business out of the company. He finalizes with, we became independent under JIP, but there was a huge amount of work involved. We had to set up a whole new infrastructure. I don't think we could have done such a big organizational change as a mere spin-off. And I have to agree with that 100%. Sometimes you just need to cut off from the main company, create a new, and literally bring it up again, almost out of the ashes. And that's what they're doing here. And I think it's great. The next question is, do you think that JIP and you will be able to work together closely in the future? He answers with, of course, the imaging business has been in the red for the past few years. So the first thing that we must do is to stop the bleeding. Sounds very familiar, right, guys? This is what's going on with a lot of camera manufacturers. They need to stop the bleeding and look towards things that make them money. I do think that R&D is absolutely imperative when it comes to a shrinking market like this. You need to figure out what works and what doesn't, cut off what doesn't, and then do all of the R&D on what does so that you can make money. The next question is, what is the future of the camera brand Olympus? The CTO replies with, as an independent company, we have everything that we need to carry on our imaging business, development, production, and sales. In addition, we have the human resources, general affairs, and accounting, which used to be our head office departments. The number of employees has been reduced by about half compared to our previous division. Approximately 2,000 employees in our Vietnam plant where we manufacture and assemble our products, and 280 are in Japan. Now, on a side note, what they did is they developed a new subsidiary company in Vietnam. Now, the company is called Imaging Vietnam, so that they can have direct control over what happens in that specific plant. Whereas the old plant in Vietnam would be doing imaging as well as their medical technology products, okay? Now they have this spin-off or this subsidiary company that is only going to do their imaging. Now, this, according to them, in quotes, says that it will adapt to the market trends in a more flexible manner. And that makes sense because now instead of the plant having to do everything, it can be focused solely on their imaging stuff, which I think is a smart thing to do. Now, the CTO continued by saying that even though OM Digital Solutions will continue developing their core products, they see an external collaboration as a better means of moving forward due to the shrinking camera market. That's a very interesting statement. Very interesting statement. Now, the next question is, if the company fails to return to profitability, will it be sold by JIP? He responds with, we have to ask ourselves how much profit we will make next year. We are not in a position to give you any specific information about how much we will make next year or what will happen if we lose money. Ouch. He finalizes with, we will of course keep our costs down, and on top of that, we will make sure that our operating profit and cash flow are back in the black. Well, we sure hope that is the case. Now, the next question. I think that the establishment of the new company is a very big turning point. But if you've come this far, is there a need to stick with Micro Four Thirds anymore? Is there? And that, I think, is a really good question. Now, his response is interesting. The Micro Four Thirds system has achieved the #1 position in the domestic market in 2020 in terms of share of unit by lens mount. Now, what he's referencing here is sales between January and December of 2020. Those are the BCN rankings that we talk about every time the BCN rankings come out. And this is absolutely the case. He continues by saying, I believe that this is proof that Micro Four Thirds system is needed, and we will continue to expand the system. Well, we see that Olympus, or now OM Digital Solutions, will continue down that road of Micro Four Thirds. The next question, but if Micro Four Thirds camera market becomes smaller, is it possible that the semiconductor manufacturers will stop making sensors? He responds with, I don't think that there is any need to worry about that because we order the sensor, pay the development cost, and they make the sensor. The CTO continues by saying, I think that lenses are what will differentiate camera systems in the future. If you compete only on the basis of the size of the body alone, there won't be much difference. In fact, it really doesn't make sense. In other words, if the lens is big, it doesn't matter whether the body is a little lighter or smaller. And I agree with him 110%. That is absolutely the case. The next question. It's all about performance, design, build quality, feel, and so on. But now that the company has become more compact, it would be nice to see some distinctive products. But for the time being, should we expect new products? Great question. And the answer is no, not at all. And there was laughing, obviously, during this. He finalizes by saying, in order to provide value to our customers, we believe that it is our mission to sell the same products and provide the same service as before, but also to introduce new products. Therefore, they will be coming. The final question says, can we expect new product releases before the end of the year? And the answer is, I cannot give you the time frame, but we are working hard on it. So I guess in a nutshell, if we kind of boil it all down, basically, what is OM Digital Solutions doing? Well, #1, they are cutting jobs in half. We know that, right? They are going to be cutting jobs in half to reduce costs. #2, they're going to create a new subsidiary manufacturing company in Taiwan so that they can handle imaging only in one factory. That will be a lot easier for them to make little shuck and jive changes, as we know are going to be imperative as this camera industry shrinks. All right. So I think that is very smart. Now, third, they're going to continue supporting their current clients. So we're not going to have to worry about if you are an Olympus user and you have an Olympus camera, are you going to be able to have this thing serviced? And the answer to that is absolutely, which is absolutely fantastic. That was one of the reasons why a lot of folks were writing in when I did this first piece reported on this. They're like, are we going to be able to service our cameras? Where are we going to have to go? Or what are we going to have to do? And that was a major question. Now, also what is interesting is what they said is they're going to be outsourcing the development due to the camera market shrinking. So that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. I don't want to see them outsource development. I don't think that's great. They did say they're going to do some in-house, but they're going to outsource a lot or a majority because it's just simply cheaper to do so. I don't know how that's going to work out going into the future. Now, the last key point that I got out of all this is they're going to continue producing Micro Four Thirds cameras. Now, in the short term, I think that's probably good for them, but in the long term, I don't know if it's a good marketing strategy. I think that it would have been better if Olympus, or now OM Digital Solutions, would have went down the same road as Panasonic. Panasonic saw the writing on the wall and said, you know, we need to move into full frame mirrorless. Micro Four Thirds is doing great, but we've squeezed the hell out of it. There's nothing more that we can do with it. All right. I haven't seen anything from Panasonic as of late. I don't know when we're going to see a GH6. They indicated that they were reducing the amount of R&D for Micro Four Thirds and putting all of that R&D into their full frame, their S line, their S1H that we use sometimes. So I would rather have seen OM Digital Solutions go down that same road because it makes sense. Strategically, for the long term, it makes sense because it gives them the ability now to shuck and jive a little bit easier instead of putting all of their eggs in the basket of Micro Four Thirds. While I personally think, some of you might not, that Micro Four Thirds will eventually go the way of the dodo bird. All right? It's just simply going to go away. APS-C will probably take over where Micro Four Thirds is, and full frame will take over where APS-C is, and then medium format, especially with Fujifilm and their GFX line, will probably take over for the full frame line. Let's say the really high-end full frame users, the professionals, let's say, that want to do still photography, medium format is where it's at. It always has been, and now it's become affordable with Fujifilm. So those are my thoughts. That's what I think that should be going on here. What do you think? With all of this information provided by the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer over there at OM Digital Solutions, what do you think? Does it seem positive? Does it seem negative? Do you think that they're going to be able to pull it off? Do you think that this new company will be similar to Vaio, where Sony sold their computer division over to JIP? JIP created the new company for Vaio. What do you think about that? Do you think that it will do as well as Vaio? Do you think it'll do worse? What do you think? I want to hear from you because I think that is a very interesting conversation, and it really points to a direction that we think, number one, where is Micro Four Thirds going? And number two, do you think that OM Digital Solutions is going to be able to make hay using only Micro Four Thirds as a means? Or do you think that they're going to need to eventually shuck and jive, move just like Panasonic and go towards either APS-C or even better, a full frame? What do you think? All right, what do you think? You know my thoughts. I want to hear from you. If you enjoyed this content, as I always ask, please throw it a big thumbs up. That would be really, really helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click this little bell icon here so you'll be notified as soon as I come out with a new video or if I go live. Also, if you want to contribute to the channel, click on the little button down here that says join. If you do, you'll become a member of the channel. You can give $1, $2, whatever per month. That'll be helpful for growing the channel. I would really appreciate it. And then I can also give you perks for doing so. If you haven't yet become a member of our community, please go over to community.JCristina.com. It's our creative Discord server that we created just for us to hang out, all right? It is awesome. There is smart people over there. There's no trolls. We talk tech. We talk video, photo, everything. There's a room for everyone to have discussions. And like I said, smart people with a ton of great information. So head over to our community.JCristina.com, our creative Discord server, and join. Once again, it is free. And finally, head over to JCristina.com where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be much appreciated. That's it. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.